Okay, only 7 questions today, so this study guide video should be pretty short. So this is not going to be a test because we're not doing all of chapter 5. We're only doing a couple sections of it and chapter 2 and a portion of chapter 2. So there's actually going to be a quiz that we're taking tomorrow. Test would be next week. So determine if the equation is linear. Do you see any exponents? No, it's already in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So this is going to be linear. How do we graph it? Well, many ways to graph a linear function, but what we've been doing in class is we've just been creating a table. So if you create a table, you go ahead and select a few random points. And I went ahead and selected -5, -2, and 4 just so that I wouldn't have to deal with any fractions. Okay, and if we do that, we'll just plug in these points into our equation, find what the y values would be. So at -5 would be 2 times -5 plus 3y equals 8. So that'd be -10 plus 3y equals 8. If we add 10 on both sides, we get 3y equals 18. And then if we divide by 3 on both sides, we get y equals 6. So at -5, y would equal 6. Next, we plug in -2. It would be 2 times -2 plus 3y equals 8. Well, 2 times -2 is -4. If we add 4 on both sides, we'd get 3y equals 12. And if we divide, we would get y equals 4, would be our y value at x equals -2. And last, we'll plug in 4, so it would be 2 times 4 plus 3y equals 8. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. And if we subtract 8 on both sides, we get 3y equals 0, or y equals 0 at 4. Then we graph, so -5, 6 would be right here. -2, 4 would be right here. And then 4, 0 would be right here. There is your line. Number 2, it's very easy because we only have to graph it if it's linear. Is this linear? No. There's an exponent there, so no. That's all you have to write. You get this type of problem on your test. This is not linear. We wouldn't be able to graph it. Number 3, write the general equation for the standard form of a linear equation. You need to remember this. It's ax plus by equals c. We discussed this in class. You need to memorize this. That's the standard form of a linear equation. We're going to work on standard form of linear equations a lot more next week and how to convert to standard form. So make sure you understand and recognize that that is the standard form of an equation. You are going to be asked to write the standard form, the general equation for standard form, on your test tomorrow. So make sure you memorize that. State whether each function is discrete or continuous. So basically, if it's discrete, that means we're going to have just random points. Not necessarily random, but they wouldn't be connected. Whereas continuous, they would be connected with a line or curve. So number of touchdowns scored for each quarter of a game. So can you really score half a touchdown? I'm not talking about extra points or field goals or whatnot. Can you score half a touchdown? Not really. You can't score a portion of a touchdown. So it looks like our domain here, it would only make sense if our domain was positive and whole, right? You could score 0 touchdowns. You could score 1. Can you score 1.5 touchdowns? Not really. Okay, so this is going to be an example of a discrete function. Okay, next is y equals 35x, where x is distance. So x is distance. Can you run half a mile? Can you run a quarter of a mile? Yes. Would x necessarily be negative? Depends what they're talking about with this problem, but regardless, it would be continuous. You'd be able to connect it. All right, and the last 2 problems are literal equations. So solve for A. We have C equals 8A minus 3B. Solve them for A. So same laws of equality apply with literal equations, except for solving for a. We want to get a by itself. So first thing I want to get rid of is this minus 3b. How do I get rid of minus 3b? We add 3b. And whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. Can we actually add c and 3b? Not until we know what our variables are. So it would be c plus 3b equals 8a. They're not like terms either, so we can't combine them. All right, a is still not by itself. We need to solve for a, so our last step is to go ahead and get rid of that 8. That's 8 times a, so we'd have to divide by 8 on both sides. So a is going to be equal to c plus 3b, all of that divided by a. We can't do anything else with this problem. So number 7, solve for b. First thing we're going to want to do is get rid of that 2. Let me rewrite the problem first. It's a equals 2 times b minus c. That's 2 times b minus c, so if we want to get rid of that 2, we'd have to divide by 2 on both sides. That'd be a over 2 equals b minus c. And we are solving for b, so how do we get rid of that negative c? You have to add c. And if we do that, we get a over 2 plus c equals b. And that would be your answer for number 7. All right, very short study guide. Make sure you study for your test. Make sure this is only a 7-minute study guide video, so rewatch it if you need to rewatch it. Make sure you are prepared for your test tomorrow. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.